Spider-Man does whatever Alchemy does. I know that didn't work, but it worked with the video, so deal with it. Spider-Man PS4 was an amazing title for the PS4's lineup. Great story, awesome gameplay, and just an all-around fun Spider-Man experience. And now we're on to the spin-off follow-up, Spider-Man Miles Morales, a story centered of the Afro-Latino hero himself. I did a bunch of news videos leading up to the game and release and streamed it on Twitch not too long ago, which was possibly 3 weeks ago. If you missed those streams, no worries, you can rewatch them here on YouTube. I played this game on a newly fresh PS5, which was amazing. But what did I think about the game? Well, let's find out. So let's start with the story, of course. It starts 1 year after the events of Spider-Man PS4. Miles is on his own in the story and has to learn how to effectively become Spider-Man, rather than the Spider-Man that everybody else wants him to be. And there's a lot of relationships going on in this narrative. There's Miles and his mother, Miles and Peter, Miles and Genki, and most importantly, Miles and Finn. The way they handle the relationship between the hero and the villain is brilliant. But let's back it up here. The chemistry between Miles and his mother is beautiful. She builds Miles up to be the hero he wants and needs to be, even before she even finds out he's Spider-Man. Yes, she finds out, which is so cool. I love that. And when she finds out, she makes it her duty to make sure he is confident in his abilities. Now, Genki is a bulk of Miles being able to do what he does. He helps him create the second suit and creates the app for him to help out others in New York. He's also just a great friend to him. Finn Mason, and yes, the Tinkerer is a woman. Nice change for the character. Miles and Finn have been friends since middle school, and their relationship between each other drives the story. Her reason to become the Tinkerer was to avenge her brother's death that was caused by Roxxon, specifically Simon Krieger, and he's a jerk. A big one. But the fact that Miles has to stop his best friend from her goals due to his responsibilities as Spider-Man is an amazing story plot. The final boss is an emotional roller coaster. And last but not least, Aaron Davis, the Prowler himself. I really liked how they changed his character for the game. We've seen his character over and over again. He's usually the guy who ends up being evil, but in this story, he betrays Miles, but he ultimately becomes his ally in the end of the story. I really loved how they achieved the relationship between Miles and his uncle. The story wasn't better than Spider-Man PS4, but it's shown that Insomniac improved on their cinematic scenes and storytelling. The cutscenes were much cleaner and more effective on an emotional level. Overall, I loved the story. Now, the gameplay is really where this game shines. First off, the swinging is massively improved, and that's all done by the new tricks and venom powers that Insomniac implemented into the traversal. It makes Miles feel very different from Peter, and it all just works. It's so smooth. The same thing that happens with Spider-Man PS4 when I play happens here. I get lost in swinging for hours, and these improvements, it intensifies. The combat in this game is kind of the same, but with the venom powers, it makes it totally different. There are certain enemies who need to be taken down thoroughly with your venom powers, and I really had to think things through during a fight. And the DualSense felt so great in my hands during playtime, and perfectly emulated the feeling of Miles' powers. I also really like how the puzzles in the game were within the environment instead of like a static tech puzzle thingy that Insomniac did. Don't ever do that again. It's more interesting this way. It also makes New York feel a little bit more inclusive in the gameplay. Stealth was improved in this game because you're able to go camouflage and take out enemies. You can also disappear and invade from a fight you know you can't win, which happened to me a lot. Either that or I died. She is... What?! How?! Yo, I hope they keep up the same energy of creative ideas to improve the combat going into Spider-Man 2. Otherwise, great job, Insomniac. I only ran into one game error once when the game just crashed and I had to report it, but you know, boot up was very quickly. It doesn't even really like affect me that much. You guys know how I feel about video game music. I love it. But I really love hip-hop, and what Insomniac did here is basically combine them both together. I really love the soundtrack for this game. The main theme is amazing, equivalent to Spider-Man PS4's theme. The main menu theme is like a piano version of the main theme and it added beats to it. It's just a nice little touch that I like. My favorite theme is the Underground's theme. it's sinister with this high energy beats and horns. I literally love that song. I literally just play that song on repeat like every day. It's just, it's good. It's good. It's good. John Paciano is in collaboration with Lecrae with the soundtrack, and it just gave it character and flavor. And they just really did a great job. Now, I'm gonna go off script here because I didn't write this in here. And I'm kind of lazy, and I don't feel like writing a script, so I'm just gonna go off script so you guys can deal with that, right? Okay, cool. Now, I do want to talk about the side missions for a little bit, because these side missions, they were just so entertaining to me. The thing is, with Spider-Man PS4, when I did those side missions, it seemed like it was like the same type of side missions, whereas in Miles Morales it's a little bit different, and you get a kind of different variety between what those side missions are. And it's just, I don't know, like I really had a great time. Like even like after the story's complete, and you go back home, and then like you get like a postcard, you do like this birthday scavenger hunt that Miles's dad set up, you know, before, you know, his passing. And it's just like seeing that, and it had an emotional value. And I don't think Spider-Man PS4 had that. There was no emotional value with the side missions in Spider-Man PS4, but with this one, it just, there's something there for you to see. On top of that, they were just fun in general. I really did like them. They were really entertaining. Not saying that Spider-Man PS4 wasn't, but this one was just very, very, very entertaining. I wish there was actually more. Actually, the crimes that go on within the world from time to time are actually more entertaining to do. You know, with Spider-Man PS4s, I kind of get bored and it's kind of repetitive. I will say that Miles Morales has a little bit more interesting high energy with the little crimes that goes on. The only one that seems repetitive is the helicopter one, which is kind of the same thing. You kind of get in a rhythm of doing it. But as far as the other ones, you know, it really seems, and it just seems really, I don't know, just more interesting. And I think what really makes it interesting is the Venom powers that makes it a little bit more have value to it. You know, I can always come back to it and play it, and I won't feel bored, or it won't feel repetitive. You know, it feels the same. But I really love the side missions, and I really love the crime missions that go on throughout the map. So yeah. Okay, back to our scripted program. In conclusion, Spider-Man Miles Morales brings something new to the table as far as Spider-Man video games go in every way. The story, the gameplay, and the music brings it all together for a fresh new experience of a Spider-Man story. And I know Brian Michael Bendis was pleased with what Insomniac did with this character that he created. It's great to have a character of color during this time. It's much needed. I feel so cool playing as a character that resembles my skin tone. It's always great to see. Miles Morales was a great experience to go through, and I'm going to play this game for a long time. From covering news onto the game to actually playing it, it has been a journey, and I'm excited to see what Insomniac does next for the web slingers. But the fact that Miles has to stop his best friend from the goals, from her goals to his responsibility. What? In conclusion, Spider-Man Miles Morales brings something new to the table as far as Spider-Man video games go in every way. The story, the gameplay, and the music brings it all together for a fresh new experience of a Spider-Man story. And I know Brian Michael Bendis was pleased with the way they handle the relationship between the hero and the villain is brilliant. But let's back it up. The chemistry between Miles and his mother is beautiful. She builds Miles up to be the hero. No, you're not supposed to be in that. Hey guys, if you like this video, why don't you leave a like? And make sure you subscribe and hit that post notification bell so you guys know when I always upload.